Hey there, Wargamers. This is Jstncloud here with another episode in my Tactical Tuesday series. I'd like to apologize for not having a video up last week. I've had some personal issues going on, and to make up for that, I will be uploading 2 videos today. So, in front of us, you can see that I have some Marines up again. Just go ahead and do a little quick pan over. You guys have seen these before if you have followed my other videos. We have a tactical squad, a librarian. We have another librarian in the back who's not been painted. I got him and just haven't had time to prime him and repaint him. It's the librarian from the Space Hulk. I love the model. And then over here we have some Terminators. Now what's different about what I have out today is right here. We've got the Storm Raven. And what I would like to talk about today is Space Marines and allies / delivery systems, whether you are running as an ally and you need to deliver your troops, or whether you're using them as regular normal Marines. So this is all going to center around the Storm Raven, which essentially is a flying land raider. It carries a lot of weapons. The one right here that I have, which is almost finished, I don't have the hurricane bolters on there or the gun on the top, and as you can see, it looks a little bit bigger than a normal Storm Raven. Oops, sorry guys. It looks a little bit bigger because I have the chapter house conversion on there, and rather than model all the weapons on there aesthetically, I preferred it to imagine that the gun would come out of here and turn around and start shooting. And if I was playing with someone who was that dead set on me having hurricane bolters on there, if I was using them, I have them, they're just not on the model. I could just plop them on the side. I just think it looks better without all the overly gaudy weapons hanging off of it. So, anyways. Flying Land Raider, armor 12 all around. Its point cost is about the same as the Land Raider. However, it is a flyer, and with the weapons it carries, it also has a payload, which is what I have out here. Transport capacity 12. It can carry jump troops or Terminators, which would count as 2, and it can carry a Dreadnought. What does this mean for normal gameplay? Well, you can either, for normal games, or for if you're just playing regular Codex Marines, you might choose to put a librarian in there and Terminator armor, or perhaps Lysander, something like that, with these bad boys back here, regular Terminators. You could outfit the Storm Raven with 5 Terminators and then an HQ and Terminator armor, and that would be your 12 capacity. In addition, you can throw in, let's say, an Ironclad Dreadnought, which would be my personal favorite out of the Codex Marines book for the delivery system. You bring in the flyer, hopefully turn 2, turn 3 perhaps, and not only is it carrying a load of firepower, it's carrying a hornet's nest inside. So the turn that you've managed to deploy, let's say these Terminators and an Ironclad, not only will this flyer be shooting something, you will be ideally assaulting something with these guys, and the Ironclad will either A, be barbecuing troops, or B, assaulting troops after barbecuing them, or maybe perhaps a vehicle. And I think that is really awesome. The downside to that is that the Storm Raven with Terminators and an HQ and an Ironclad, you're pushing probably like 600-700 points. But you have the survivability of the Storm Raven, the snapshots, whatever, the armor 12, which is basically non-forge roll model armor 12's, I think, the highest flying armor value you're going to get, and it's immune to Melta, which, for what that's worth, you don't really see too much melt in the air, but if you get hit by it, you know that you're safe from the 2d6 to pin. Now, how does this relate to allies? The thing that I think is really awesome about the Storm Raven is being able to use it as an ally with another army. Now, obviously, if you've watched my videos, you know that I play Tau, and I'm slightly biased. I'd bring these in with Tau. But if perhaps you're, let's say, Space Wolves, and you're bringing in Blood Angels or Codex Marines, the Space Wolves have no flyer currently. They didn't get it in the Skies from Death, or whatever that book was from GW that was almost a failure. They didn't get updated to have anything. So being able to bring in this flyer with your mandatory 1 troop and mandatory 1 HQ for the allies, that still allows you to bring in an Ironclad or another Dreadnought of your choice, all in one deployment system. You have 1 reserve roll, and if you pass it, it brings in your whole ally contingent, and they get to fly across the board and do whatever they need to do. The Storm Raven itself would be quite efficient at shooting down other flyers. You have on the front, mine's not quite finished. You can see here I don't have the canopy glued or the guns on it, but you could either run the multi-melta or the I think it's the Typhoon missile launcher. Basically, it's a no, Cyclone missile launcher. The same missile launcher that a Terminator would carry that gets the 2 shots versus 1. You could run that, strength 8s or blasts, good at taking out infantry and other flyers. It has rockets, hurricane bolters, and your top weapon could be an assault cannon, plasma cannon, las cannon. So depending on how you outfit it, it can be good at a variety of things, which falls in line with the stereotypical Marine ideology. They are kind of well-rounded, good at everything, not a master of anything. The Storm Raven is the same thing. It's not a Valkyrie. It's not designed to just blow up armor. It's designed to do a variety of tasks. Now, one of the things I think is also key to note is if you run this Storm Raven as an ally contingent, or even as your regular, but focusing on the ally for this particular comment, you're bringing in 1 heavy, which is a Storm Raven, 1 troop, 1 HQ, 1 elite. That leaves you with 1 fast attack that you can bring in as an ally. Well, I'm not a big fan of the Storm Talon. I don't have one out here to show you guys because I'm waiting on Austin to convert it up for me. But still, if you use the Storm Talon with the Storm Raven as an ally, or even as a non-ally, but this is focused towards the ally aspect because of the Force organization. If you bring the Storm Talon in with the Storm Raven, have it escort the Storm Raven. You make 1 reserve roll, and it brings in 2 flyers, one of which is carrying your Hornet's Nest, and it's going to absolutely obliterate things. If it doesn't obliterate things, your opponent is having to spend a lot of resources to take this down, and the troops inside probably are going to stand a reasonable chance of doing something even if they do take it down. It's going to draw fire from your normal troops or your normal stuff that's deployed, and if they ignore it, the Hornet's Nest is going to make it to them. So it's going to give them, they're going to have to make choices, and that's a big deal in 40k, is having to prioritize targets and figure out what you need to take out first. For Tau in particular, which I've talked about this before, having a delivery system with the Marines as your allies, who are battle brothers, getting them across the field, whether it be with the Storm Raven, Storm Talon combo I just mentioned, getting them across the field puts pressure in your opponents, on their lines, in their backfield. And it's hard to deal with that when you have an impressive Tau gun line. And let's face it, the Tau models are dirt cheap. Some of them are expensive, but the majority of the, quote, Daka type units that just throw bullets, which is almost the whole Tau codex, having those sit behind an Aegis line or a Sky Shield, while, unfortunately, the Space Marine meat shields run in and get, blasted, cut up, chopped up, whatever, that is a speed bump that saves your models late game. In addition to that, you're able to throw a scoring unit on the other side of the field, and if your opponent ignores it, then you're going to probably capture an objective or get line breaker or something of that nature. So I think it is a valid tactic, especially in slightly higher point games. 1,500 points would be pushing it, because running the list I just mentioned would run you probably half of those points. But if you're running around 1,850, it might not be a bad option to consider. So with that being said, please consider leaving comments below if you agreed with what I said, or if perhaps I've overlooked something, or if you just had a critique or other suggestions, because I'm not the end-all be-all of 40k tactics. I'm just kind of ranting about what I've observed, and I would love to hear what you guys have to say, because, well, let's face it, it might make me a well-rounded player to get the feedback from you guys, other players, So please feel free to comment. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you have other topics you would like me to address, or just general information, period. So with that being said, I guess I will get out of here. And as always, happy wargaming.